Everybody, it's David, MSOM 601, coming to you today back home in Dallas, Texas, in my new office. I just realized this. It looks like I'm in a mugshot here because I don't have anything on the walls yet. So I promise you I'm not doing this from jail, but I am back home from Boston this week, and I just need to get some stuff on the walls, I guess. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about Lesson 3 and then preview Lesson 4 for you coming up. Lesson 3 is always one of my favorite ones, and the reason that it is it really focuses on the heart, I believe, of problem solving, and that is defining the problem. So the discussion board question this week talked about the importance of defining the problem. Some of us, in our haste to get to a solution, sometimes will jump immediately to options, and so that is prone to make mistakes sometimes. And so I posted something. I hope you read my discussion board post, which was just a quote attributed to Einstein on that one, because I think it really talks about one of the key issues, that we don't spend enough time defining the problem, and we end up solving something that may not be the problem, thereby perhaps creating some problems. So I enjoyed the dialogue that you had on that this week. Assignment or the discussion 2, we actually had 2 discussion boards this week, was on the is not technique, and I love the dialogue on this. I found that this process has been very, very helpful to me. In the past, I've used it in situations in consulting, and I know that some of you from an engineering background have some familiar processes that you have used in your business on that as well. So I encourage you, maybe that's one you can take away with you. And again, it focuses on narrowing down on what is the true problem. So that is the is not technique of problem solving. And then the case study this week was on problems created with this dental organization. And one of the things that's going to be the key takeaway, and you'll see my comments on your papers on this, is that there were a heck of a lot of assumptions made without going first and really defining what the problem truly was. And so they really didn't talk directly to the doctors. They did a lot of assuming, so there were a lot of assumptions that happened through that process. But because they didn't take the time necessary to define the problem, they just immediately began working on solutions. And so the red model will actually help you out through that as well, with the R being recognizing assumptions. And you can't recognize assumptions in this case if you don't talk to the customer. And the customer in this case were a group of doctors. And so in order to recognize those assumptions and then to be able to evaluate things, you have to take the time necessary to talk to the customers to help define what the true problem is. And so my hope is that everything kind of tied together in Lesson 3 so that you were able to take a look at that and to take a case study in action on that. All right? Lesson 4, this is going to be a big week because part 2, or the narrative part for about half of your paper, is due with the course project this week. So I look forward to taking a look at those. If you have any questions about the course project, make sure you contact me. Just don't send it in and just say, I think this is what you were looking for. If you have any questions, make sure you contact me this week on that. It's very important that we get off to a good start. Again, you're going to be able to see my comments at the end of this week on your course project. You're going to be able to take my suggestions and update your papers so that by the time you create the final submission in Lesson 7, you will have my feedback already on about half of your paper. All right? The discussion board question this week is fun. The speaker that you're going to see on the video, Rory Sutherland, is a Brit, and he is very, very humorous. He has a very dry sense of humor. But his key message behind this is really talking about sweating the small stuff. Now, many of you may have heard the phrase, don't sweat the small stuff. And for me, in corporate level business before, at the position I was in, I really couldn't sweat the small stuff I didn't think. I had to look at the big picture. I had to look at those things because the small stuff sometimes got in the way. Well, Rory Sullivan presents a totally different approach on this on sweating the small stuff. So I'll be interested to see your comments on this one in particular, because I think it's just going to be a clever approach for you. All right, so that's discussion one, sweat the small stuff. And then the case study this week is about bias. Now, this one is one that I have really a tough time with. I'm not on Facebook. I used to be, but I just got so tired of people blindly forwarding things that obviously were not true. Just because they saw it on Facebook, they forwarded it. And quite frankly, it made them look like an idiot, because they would forward things that I would look at and I go, that's not true. And then you do a fact check on it and find out it's not true, but it's too late. Someone's already forwarded it. And so that's a simple look just as it relates to Facebook. But think about the more important things that we look at where we let bias impact us, particularly with the talking heads that are out there today. Whether you're a Fox News fan or an MSNBC fan really doesn't matter, because facts are in short supply, and if we believe what someone is transmitting to us on television or in newspapers or in the editorial page, and we just blindly take that, then shame on us. And so I am really a big proponent of making sure that you take the time necessary to eliminate bias in a lot of the research that you do, which is why I'm still push to make sure that you are focused on journal articles at the CSU Online Library. Of course, that doesn't eliminate all the bias there, but because it is reviewed by a jury of your peers, the likelihood that it is without bias on the major points are much greater. And so let's make sure that we focus on that. And by the way, you need to make sure that you understand that in your course project, you have to have a minimum of 9 peer-reviewed sources, and again, peer-reviewed journal articles from the CSU Online Library in your final paper. So make sure that you do that. All right? I hope you have a great week. Again, I can't say this enough. If you have any questions on your course project before you submit it, make sure that you do that. Make sure you reach out to me, and we'll have a chat about it. I'm going to be here all week, hopefully putting something on the wall behind me so that, again, I don't look like I'm in jail. All right, have a great week. Talk to you soon. Thanks.